This episode of Truth Table is brought to you by InterVarsity Press, whose vision is to catalyze redemption, restoration, and revival in our divided and broken world. Follow IVP on Twitter at Ivy Press and visit IVP's website at www.ivpress.com. Hey y'all, welcome to Truth Table, Midwest and Culture for Grace and Truth. I'm Ekemini.
And I'm Christina.
This table is built by Black women and for Black women. So welcome to the table. See how you doing, girl?
Whew, girl. Just sound effects. There are no words. Next.
Hey.
How are you doing? How are you doing? On liturgical dance moves. How are you doing?
Till the end of the road. That's the song in my spirit.
Oh, not taking it back to.
I can let go.
I believe I can actually let a lot of things go.
We have come to the end of the season, y'all, sisters. It's the season finale of Truth's Table Season 5. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Y'all may not be as excited as us, but this has been my goodness. This has been a very productive season. Let's say that. Very productive. Not a dull moment at the table, right, Christina?
Let me tell you something. In the year 2020, is it 2021? That's where we are still.
I feel like 2020.
Yeah, there's no normal. There's still no normal yet. So it's been spicy and salacious. Spicy, salacious, and boring at the same time. It's a lot. It's confusion.
It's all of the things. But we have come to the final episode of Truth Table Season 5. Never would have made it. Listen.
Let me tell you something, Miss Ekemini Karaoke. You are.
I just start talking in songs.
I believe the whole world is a musical, so I'm like, let's do our day.
Listen. I think you know what it was. It was just that we had so much going on simultaneously with the season. But I think it's so funny. I actually think that this season is our most comprehensive, season because we started off with our theme. We gonna learn today. We carried it all the way throughout the season, which I thought that was really cool. Like that's the first time we've done that, where it actually spanned the entire length of our season. And our seasons are long, about 30 episodes, 30 plus episodes. We'll be giving y'all a lot. It's
we all thank Ekemini for this, by the way. Carry on.
So we've been giving y'all up, but yeah, I was like, that was cool. That was the first time that we've been able to start it and carry it all the way on. Why did we land on We Gonna Learn Today? See,
because sometimes the people, and we are the people, we need to do some hush. Mm-hmm. We need to listen. We need to learn some things. We don't know all the things. And if you actually are learning, you realize that you really don't know that much. You have more to learn. So I think we were trying to meet this season with an attitude of humility and curiosity. And they were just, we just wanted to learn about learning. And so that's what we did, because we typically do what we want to do. That's typically how we figure out what we're going to do.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I think we sensed that there was just a need for spiritual formation and political education. And I think we did pretty, and like you said, curiosity of just about different issues that we just, don't know much about and wanted to learn about. And so I thought that was, I thought it was a fitting theme because we definitely both of those. And then we also started our Facebook discipleship group as well. Yeah, that started this season. And so another component to be able to help to shore up, particularly the spiritual component. That's our Facebook Black Women's Discipleship Group. It has, I think about 1,000 members now. 1,000 learning about Jesus and learning from Black women who are teaching us about the word, teaching us about even just about mental health, and we're hoping to do much more of that. And so I think that's part of why we've had a lot of different this season was, I would say, productive because we've been managing that, and
Yeah.
you've been doing the bulk of that of recruiting the teachers. And
Yeah.
they've been a
Yeah.
blessing, to us and to the sisters at the table.
Absolutely. So, I mean, just focusing on this series, I mean, we had so many voices that were really, really interesting in this We Gonna Learn series. Obviously, we I think our last interview that we concluded with was Dr. Givens.
Yes.
That's about his book, Fugitive
Yes.
Pedagogy, and just really interesting to put the kind of the philosophy of the Black educational movement in the United States, and that in conversation with this kind of enlightenment or learning just to
Right.
learn, and I would make a case kind of this kind of privileged and esoteric conceptualization of learning, to put that into conversation together. And anyway, it was great hearing from him to learn more about even some um, African American leaders from history that I thought I had handles on, but then to hear even more and more. And I think that was certainly the case. Obviously, we learning about historically Black colleges and university earlier on in the series, learning about disability in the church.
Yeah.
We just had some really, really needed topics for us to learn about.
Yes, yes, yes. I think when you're talking about Dr. Givens, yeah, and fugitive pedagogy, I thought that was so like really like the capstone, really to it was the perfect, I should say, the perfect capstone to the series. It is
Hmm.
kind of like it's actually the embodiment of the theme of of the series, right? And so it's like each one teach one, lifting as we climb. That was the ethos of the artwork for the season, kind of pulling on Anna Julia Cooper and Nanny Helen Burroughs, many
Yeah,
of our sheroes, if you will, and Ida B. Wells Barnett. And so it was just that was definitely providential because that was nothing but the Lord that brought that one together. Because actually,
yeah.
the funny thing is, y'all, that episode was probably that came through like last minute. We actually probably that might not have made the cut had we
Mhm.
if we didn't have if we didn't have margin or we didn't have like we just happened to have an opening for that interview to happen, and that we actually wanted to start off the season talking
Mhm.
about that actually. But hey, the Lord knew better than we did, and Dr. Givens brought it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He knows his stuff. But yeah, I thought so anyway, I really just again I feel like this is our most cohesive and I would say comprehensive season in that. And I just like the curiosity piece, of course, about ableism in the church, right? Talking about disability
Yeah.
in the church with Andrea Levant. Oh my goodness,
Mhm.
the Black adoption episode.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Dr. Coleman and Sandria
Sandra
Washington.
Washington and Dr. Coleman,
Mhm.
Samantha Coleman. Oh my goodness, that was so good. It was,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they
Black homeschooling. It was just
with
like,
Dr. Cheryl
we don't
Fields Smith. Yes, yes, yes. The Black homeschooling movement. My goodness, we learn a lot. And yes, like you mentioned, Dr. Jelani Favors, at HBCUs, and I really did enjoy this season, and I felt like I did learn a lot. We were trying to really put ourselves in the position of learners. Yeah, truth
yeah.
table. Well, individually we teach and things in different settings, and either
Mhm.
biblically or about sociology, just different topics. We
Yeah.
do interdisciplinary work, but it was nice to be able to sit back and actually learn and facilitate. The learn.
I mean, we're always learning, but I think we just wanted to do that like on the nose, and I think even continuing that in this theme, we had a couple of Black women rising that
Yeah.
that were also like incredibly important figures, right? And
Michelle Rice
influential.
and Dr.
Yeah, powerhouse women, right? So Dr. Teresa Harrison and of Gospel Today magazine and kind of her whole
Yeah.
media gospel music franchise, and also Michelle Rice, president of TV One, to be able to have them here as our Black women rising this season. I was like, we doing the
Listen.
things. We doing the things. We don't typically toot our own horns, but we do like to let the record recollect that we put in work.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we'll get people that are like, what? You know, how do you do your podcast, or why do people listen? Well, God is gracious, and we do try to think things through. And we have been given we just absolute favor and connection. And we put out the ask, and it blows my mind when people are like, for sure. Or sometimes we don't even put out the ask. They're like, hey, I heard about who you are. Can we come? Can I tell my story on this platform? And that is just a real honor and
That's
privilege for us
true.
to be able.
That's actually how Woman Evolve came about behind the book with Sarah Jakes Roberts, which was a really nice treat to have her at the
Absolutely,
table.
and just and a great opportunity to meet her and to connect with her. Obviously, I think there are people who probably believe that they know her. You know how you see somebody out there, you're like, oh, I know that. We don't know people
You
that
know?
we don't know, y'all. We don't know people. Okay, if you follow somebody on the internet, you don't really know them. I feel like I got to say that out loud, but it's really great also when you connect with somebody and they're their real their real in-person presence or virtual presence is actually even more delightful than what you get online. So that is always a win. And I hope that can be said of all believers, right? That when people actually experience us in person, they don't walk away like, oh, that's a facade, like that's a
Yeah.
front. No, they're like they're actually, I like them more, the real person more than the avatar that I get online. So I was so glad that we could host Sarah Jakes, and I'm curious, did you have any moments this season, Kimmy, that just like gripped your heart? Like what were like your heartwarming, drop your thug tear? Like what were your your moments from this season?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I think the black adoption for me, it was hearing Sandria Washington and Dr. Samantha Coleman's their story about adoption, how they found out that they were adopted was like, ooh, and just the generosity of spirit that they brought to the table. They did not have to share that with us. Because that's some
Yeah.
traumatic, at least their narratives, the way they found out their own
Mhm.
particular story. And I'm not talking about adoption on the whole, but I'm just saying their own particular story, which is like, oh my goodness, they didn't have to share that with us. They don't know us like that. And they don't know our audience like that. So that was so generous, I thought. And so that was definitely a moment that really, tugged at me for sure. I would say also, I know we mentioned this, but having Andrea Levant at the table talk about disability in the church, talking about going into church spaces and not seeing anybody else like her. Now, invisible disabilities do exist, so I'm not trying to, but that this is her own testimony, about going into space and talking about the homogeneity within the church, and just I thought that also definitely, those are the two that really, at least for me at the moment anyway, really like stick
Yeah.
out to me as like, ooh, that those were like,
Yeah.
heartstrings.
She really was teaching. And I remember as we were listening, as I was participating in that
Hmm.
interview, just, her, I mean, it was just it would be like the kind of most subtle story. But then in that moment, it just started correcting like your bias, like real time, like my bias, like those that were implicit became obvious, like it came to the forefront and they were dealt with. And I remember the story that she shared about people's assumption that, if she was to go down to the altar, right, or she needed prayer, they
For
assumed
healing.
that this deliverance from what they perceive as this physical infirmity. And she's like, well, I got some other things going on. Like there's more that's going on with me. Like I'm a whole person. Which seems like duh, but also like no, we missed that, and it checked me about how we need to always humble ourselves to hear what people articulate as their need, as their
Yes.
concern, instead of assuming what their need or concern might be. And so, yes, I thought she was incredibly helpful. The one that like pulled at me, I think, was our review of respect.
Okay. Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it was super heavy, and having a background in, trauma work, family systems trauma work, and particularly thinking about African Americans and religious community and uh, religious trauma and sexual
Yeah.
abuse,
How they
like
come.
the toxic dance of that
Mhm.
exactly. So just processing that movie and watching the movie was heavy, but I thought that it was important. And I think when we are able to have those types of conversations just out loud in respectful ways, It just reminds people that they don't have to live in shame. Like they have a story, whether they want to tell it publicly, that's their business. I'm not one of those people like you got to tell all your stories public, but I do tell people, tell your story to God. You know, you have an audience of the great divine one, and you can certainly extend your story there. And it needs to be shared and stated. So that one stands out to me as well.
Yeah, you're right. That was a heavy one. Aretha been through. So yeah, we did have some of that. True story. You're gonna get some of the weightiness. You're gonna get
Mhm.
you get
Mhm.
the levity. You got the levity with the WandaVision. You got some levity there. You got some levity. That Girl
Yeah.
Olympic. Well, there was some weightiness too, and some levity. Together, they go together. Um, Black
Yeah.
Girl Olympics.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. I'm trying to think what else. There was quite a few, fun and funny episodes as well. And so, anyways, yeah, that's a good point. But you know what? Let's take a quick commercial break to pay some
Mhm.
bills, and you might hear a new little ad in there. So let's do it,
Announcement.
and then come right back to the table.
Ekemini, have you heard about this thing called pre-ordering?
Ooh, I think so. Pre-ordering. That's when people buy your book before it comes out, right?
I think so, because they're interested. They're like, hey, let me make sure I got my copy.
Okay, yeah, because they're just so hyped. They're like, you know what? I can't wait for the release date. I gotta let these people know that I want this book.
Come on now.
Yes, and the book that we are talking about is Truth Tables, Black Women's Musings on Life, Love, and Liberation. Y'all, pre-orders are so important because it lets bookstores and all of the power brokers within the book industry know that this book is important. These voices are important. Their stories are compelling, and we want more of it. So pre-order Truth Tables, Black Women's Musings on Life, Love, and Liberation wherever books are sold. But we are pushing you to bookshop.org to support Black independent bookstore owners. See, I mean, what else do people need to know?
Well, they are going to have an opportunity to read the essays that we have cultivated over the last year or so, and kind of hear our thoughts on those topics that you just outlined. Just a little bit about life, a little bit about love, and a little bit about liberation. And we even have a space for them to start thinking about their own precious musings, to write that out in the book. I look forward to seeing how this will continue to facilitate conversation. And it's really our gift as Truth's Table. The three of us have been working together for a number of years. It's our gift to the community and to the community that doesn't even know a lot about the podcast, right? So we hope that you support us, you support this work by going ahead and pre-order. How about pre-order right now? Should they pre-order right now?
Yeah, hit the show note link and go ahead and pre-order right now. Truth Table, Black Women's Musings on Life, Love, and Liberation. Are you looking for ideas on how to discuss biblical concepts with your kids in an engaging way? Check out IVP Kids, a new line of children's book from IVP that pack biblical themes into a kid-friendly format. The Celebration Place by Dorena Williamson is one such book that celebrates God's diverse world and the beauty of His church. Church is more than just a building. It's a gathering of God's people to celebrate who He is and all that He has done. It's also where we learn about God's vision for justice and unity. That was a message that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. shared, and it continues to be an important message for us today. Because of God's great love, church should be the best celebration place. Launching on November 9th, The Celebration Place by Dorena Williamson is a delightful illustrated children's book from IVP Kids that will be enjoyed by kids as well as adults who read them. Also included with this book is a note from the author to encourage further conversation about the content. Discover IVP Kids and share with children the things that matter to God. Truth Table listeners can save 30% off and get free shipping on the Celebration Place when you order at ivpress.com using promo code TRUTH21. That's Truth21 to save 30% and get free shipping when you order at ivpress.com. And we are back at the table, y'all. Season 5 table reflections. So, what were like the funny episodes in your opinion, C?
Well, first of all, we can squeeze a laugh out of the most traumatic moment. Like, this is the part about coping, trauma laughter. This is kind of how we roll sometimes. But I think that the Meg and Harry
Yes.
Oprah interview, that was quite a moment to process. First of all, everybody needed to see it via video. We needed that one videoed because you needed to see us do all of our Oprah posing
Were you
reenactments. You know,
intimidating or were you intimidated? So
maybe that I asked
we didn't do
daily.
video on that one though. We did that one in the studio.
We did. So we didn't do video on that. So you just heard our voices. But that also was a controversial one in terms of the feedback that we received. I mean, there are people who have thoughts and opinions about what we say, and that's more than reasonable because they got brains and they be thinking and they got feelings. But that one, we even knew it going into it because Meg and Harry interracial relationship, interracial marriage, and that we knew that we were going to talk about the dynamics of white supremacy and particular burden on the person of color in the relationship. In this case, of a biracial
Yeah,
woman,
yeah.
um, and so yes, we kind of laid that out, and our intention certainly was not to offend our sisters who got a white boo. You got a white
Mhm.
boo,
Mhm.
run on. We support you. We will do a two-step at your wedding. We want the sisters to
Mhm.
be blessed and happy. But we did want to approach that with some degree of candor from our vantage point. And we try not to fake, yo. It ain't the gospel truth, but we're just telling you our
Yeah,
thoughts about some of those dynamics. And so that one was funny, but also it was also one that people may not realize there was some
it's true. There were
feelings.
some feelings. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. You know, you're right. That was a funny one. I did think that one was funny. I thought WandaVision too. Those are fun. That one obviously because I didn't watch it, so I did, and still have no. I still,
So me and Em were like, by the way, you need to watch these things. Goodbye.
but it was still very entertaining.
We're like, please stop watching reality TV. And
Never, never.
so we've never actually done one of your reality TV things. We've never processed that, but you know. With that being said, there's some other things that have been shaken and baking behind the scenes that we've been making in the kitchen, a truth table, and so what is to come? Do we need to let the people in on what is to come, and if God allows us to see 2022?
Yes. Okay. So y'all, yes. So we were talking about being productive. You talked about us. We talked about us saying, we come to the end of the road because this season has been very productive and busy for us behind the scenes because we have been cooking up. We've been cooking up pages for a book called Truth Table. Black women's
Yes.
musings on life, love, and liberation. And so
Yeah.
we've been cooking up and cooking up so much that we don't have a cover yet. It's in the making, it's in the works, so I can't hold up an actual book to y'all, but it's there. It's there. It's cooking, with the powers that be at Penguin Random House. And so, yeah, so that's what's made this season, I would say a little hard in that we're recording, producing, episodes, interviewing, scheduling those things while writing, and this book is a compilation of essays written from myself, Christina, and Michelle, and we pour out, we share quite a bit of our own narratives, our own lives, our experiences in the book. And so yeah, should we tell them a little bit about what some of the topics of the book? What do you think? Or should we?
I mean, are you trying to give a little bit and take it back? What are
I
you
don't
doing?
know. I don't know. Shall we give a little? I don't know. I don't know what do we do.
I mean, the matters of love, for example, we talk about marriage, we talk about singleness, we talk about divorce, we talk,
That's true.
we kind of go in there. We talk about things like forgiveness. We talk about colorism. We talk about church discipline and the out of pocketness that is evident in a lot of spaces in the church in America, for example. We talk about decolonization of
Yeah.
discipleship. So there, I mean, there's a whole host of things in there. It is not all encompassing, right? But our hope and goal is that by listening to our musings, and that's really what it is, they're our musings extended, that you sisters will think about what are your hard wrought musings that you have. There's even a little space in the book for you to share your musings.
Yes.
Okay, um, so I'm actually really excited about the kind of the little teaspoon of a journal piece, right? Because your stories are valid and worthy to be shared,
Yes.
and there's inspiration. So that's the book,
That's the
girl.
book.
That's the book.
So
That's the book.
we asking y'all, to please, 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 please. We're gonna put the pre-order link on the bottom. Our editor, our fantastic editor Daryl Bradford, will put that link down there. The bookshop link. We got to support, Black independent bookstores. So that's why we're pushing you toward bookshop. And you want to order Truth's Table, Black Women's Musings on Life, Love, and Liberation. Our book, God willing, will be released in April 2022. So right on time for Resurrection Sunday, I believe. Actually, what? Resurrection Sunday be moving. I was like, I do need to check the.
Look, you sure
Because
enough.
sometimes it'll be in March.
It used to be warm outside. Now I'm like, Issa, it's cold. What's happening?
Yeah, because sometimes it's in March, sometimes it's in April. I was like, I need to check the date on that. But it's gonna be coming out in April.
Right, right, right.
But yeah,
Yes. Look out. Look out.
but we do pre-orders are important because that signals to the publisher, and to the powers that be that this book is in high demand. We really want this. These are the type of writings that we want. It's really important. That's one of the biggest ways that you can support um, us, and we
Totally.
hope that you would. I hope that you would take this as our own love offering, if you will, from Truth's Table. It takes a lot of work for us to do what we do, not just on the show, but also to be able to sit down and take time away from the show in order to write, and to do that together was at the same time was not easy. But we hope it is really a blessing for you all. And I think one way that you can confirm your love for us is by pre-ordering the book. But also, I would
Listen,
say this:
and Kim is like, listen, if you ever love me, you order
pre-order the
this
book,
book.
pre-order the book, pre-order the book. But also, I would say, this is. Yeah, I would say this is the culmination, of Truth Table's work right here. This is what you want to get, because in 2022, we got some big changes coming to Truth Table, and we got some really exciting projects coming down the pipeline in 2022. So you're gonna want to get that book, because in that book you're gonna read intro to the conclusion, because the intro really sets up, I would say, the format of the book. Would you agree with that? Steve?
Yeah, totally, totally. And so yeah, so we look forward to yeah, hearing how you respond to our musings, hearing about your musings, and we'll see what things look like in 2022. But certainly, if not virtually, maybe in person. If we show up in your city, you come on out. If one of us or more of us show up, you come out and you
Right.
support us, please. And again, we hope that it is a blessing to you. So as you're pre-ordering, don't forget to pray for Truth's Table. Pray for all of us, right? Pray for the work that we've done. Pray for the folks behind the scenes that y'all don't even know who they are. You may have never met them before, but there's a crew of people who that help to make this happen, and largely they do this as a labor of love. Because I can assure you, we not wealthy. This is definitely a labor of love, and it may be a way to help our mental health too, right? So we encourage you to buy the book, to pray for the work that we do here. And we look forward to seeing you out there virtually or in person, as we go around kind of revealing some of the exciting things that are happening in 2022.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we want to thank y'all. Thank you, Steve, for taking a seat at the table. Yeah, I can't believe it. it's the end of the road. It really is the end of the road. And of course, we want to thank our sisters for taking the time to sit at the table with us during this season 5. Like, oh my goodness. I hope y'all learned a lot. Actually, in fact, why don't y'all make sure you tweet us? Make sure you email us, whatever you need to do to let us know what you've thought about this season and how it's blessed you. What have you learned? What notes have you taken? Talk to us about the Facebook group. What have you learned? Have you dived in yet? If you haven't, no shame. It is there. You can join us. But yeah, we'd love to hear back from you. So you can always email us at asktruthstable@gmail.com. You can always tweet us your thoughts at Truth Table. You can always DM us on Instagram at Truth Table. Get at us. Let us know what you have learned. What episodes did you enjoy from this season? How did you enjoy this season? Yeah, let us know your thoughts because we want to hear from you.
And if we haven't said it, let's say it clearly and go on record to our sisters at the table and to our
Dining room
standing
section.
room section. We are just grateful for y'all. We're grateful for you rolling with us. I know that we're all encouraged when we run into people. We're still shocked and surprised that people would know individuals from a podcast, but we are encouraged by the kind words, the prayers, remembering things that we said that we don't even remember that we said them. To be honest with you, people will tweet things and I'm like, did I say that? But we are just so grateful to our sisters and to the standing room section. And so I hope that you will pre-order that book, and I hope you'll pray for us, and I hope that you'll continue to stick with us as we move through some new and exciting changes in 2022.
Yes, and I would also say thank you all so much, and also to our Patreon supporters, our PayPal supporters, our Venmo supporters. Like, you all, thank you, because honestly, we would not be able to continue the work of Truth Table that we've been doing for these years without your support. Seriously. So we may not say it as often as we like or remember, charge it to our head, not to our hearts. But
Yeah.
seriously, we appreciate your support. We appreciate your
Yeah.
love.
On a concrete level, it allows us to host the women's discipleship group. It
Yeah.
allows us to have to be able to try in some way to honor the support team and staff that are all around the country, and in some cases outside of the United States,
Yes.
helping to support the work that we do here. So thank
Yeah.
y'all, thank
Thank
y'all.
you all. Thank you all. We really do. So that's a specific thank you to our sisters and our standing room section people. We see you. We love y'all. Yeah, we appreciate you. We feel that we know you all are praying for us, and so we do. We continue to ask you for your prayers, prayers for wisdom, prayers for just continued integrity, that we would be able to do things in ways that are pleasing to God, honestly, and ultimately glorifying to God and God's kingdom. And we pray that the Lord would just continue to expand the borders of His kingdom. That's the prayer. So we thank y'all so much for taking a seat at the table with us this season. Thank you. So of course, keep the conversation going. Like I said, tweet us your thoughts about this episode, Table Reflections, Season 5 finale. Of course, you can use the hashtag Truth Table and Black Women. We have the Black Women's Discipleship group on Facebook. So make sure you join us, follow us on Truth Table on Facebook, and then join our Facebook group. Invite your homegirls too. And of course, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Truth Table. And you can also email us your thoughts about this episode or this whole season. You can email us at asktruthstable@gmail.com. And don't forget to rate and review the show on iTunes and subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Truth Table also has a Patreon account, so y'all can send your love offerings to patreon.com/truthstable, or you can bless us at our PayPal, which is paypal.me/truthstable. Truth Table is made possible in part by Podastery Studios. Visit podastery.com for the highest in quality online audio entertainment. Our producer for the show is Joshua Heath. Our executive producer is Bo York, and we have been your hosts, Ekemini, Michelle, and Christina. We'll see you soon on the next Truth Table. Bye, y'all.